Baker, swim dodge, fires and scores!
Skipping a step, behind the back! Pass, the extra look, and the goal! Shot on goal and good!
Thank you for joining us on Long Island at Cold Spring Harbor High School, the site of Game 1 of Gains for Brains, the premier girls high school lacrosse event in the nation. We start our day with two of the best in the country as Northport riding high on a 46-game winning streak with multiple All-Americans and back-to-back Long Island championships take on six-time Connecticut state champ New Canaan. I'm Gavin Shaw alongside Tracy Wiener. Reminder, Gains for Brains presented by the Long Island Yellow Jackets. Tracy, a program that you are closely associated with on top of coach, of course, being a Long Island Hall of Famer, three-time state champion at Farmingdale.
Yeah, you know, and I'll tell you, days like today, sometimes I miss being on the sideline because this is just such a great event. It's a great venue. Cold Spring Harbor always puts on a good show here. This first game that we'll be watching, Northport and New Canaan, could be the best game of the entire event with two of the premier high school teams in the country.
According to USA Lacrosse Magazine, Northport ranked number 2, New Canaan at number 6, and we'll get right into it with our impact players. New Canaan, they're led by Kayla Harden, who was the 13th ranked player in the country this season, and she has been dynamic for a couple of years now for this squad, the North Carolina commit, and you see here the production this season.
Absolutely, and she's taken on the burden, you know, recently with Hollis Mulgrew going down with that season-ending injury. It's all going to fall on Kayla Harden to pick up that slack, but you don't go to UNC for no reason. Again, one of the top-ranked teams in the nation in college. Obviously, this is a kid that understands what it takes to play at the next level, at the highest level, and I think that she's going to try to take over this game early.
And then for Northport, a couple of good options. The Tigers are absolutely loaded, but we're going to get into Kaylee Makowicz, the All-American, the Duke commit, and she has had a fantastic start to her senior season.
Kaylee Makowicz is an All-American player. You know, she isn't. When you say impact player, it's all about Kaylee. You know, on the offense, she's the engine that gets this team going. And, you know, she can assist the ball when necessary, but 37 goals on a high school platform. And honestly, for Northport, the starters don't even make it to halftime most of the games. And Kaylee's just that kid that's always their go-to at crunch time. If the game is on the line, watch Coach Rose. She's going to call Kaylee's number.
And you mentioned for New Canaan, Hollis Mulgrew, who scored 43 goals a year ago, tore her ACL last week in an 8-7 loss against upstate New York powerhouse Victor. But still a loaded starting lineup for the Rams. We can go through it. Dylan Patton has had a monster season for them with 28 goals this season. We already mentioned the production of Harden, but it's similar to Northport, similar to a lot of the great teams on Long Island, Tracy. There's just so much balance, so much depth throughout the roster.
Without a doubt. And it might take New Canaan a game or two or even longer to figure out, you know, how to fill in the gaps there, but they do have talented kids. They do have another player just waiting to step up, and one goes down and it gives another young lady an opportunity to shine.
We mentioned Patton. Caitlin Tully, Cornell commit. She's actually coming off the bench for New Canaan. She's missed the last 2 years with back-to-back torn ACLs. She came back their last game against Eastport South Manor, scored 2 goals in that one. Really cool story for New Canaan. And now we'll get a look at the starting lineup for Northport. And for the Tigers, there was a debate for who we were going to have as the impact player. It's not just Kaylee Makowicz. Ella Cabrera is also an All-American. She's the 19th ranked player in the country, and she leads this midfield for legendary head coach Carol Rose.
She's just so good. You know, for me, Cabrera's that kid. She's already been selected in the first wave of the Under Armour senior game. She's just one of those kids that comes around, you know, very rarely in a coach's career. You know, Germani is another player to watch out for. Huxtable plays for me all summer long. I know how great she is. But for me, what's going to make the difference in this game is Grace McCarthy. She is a draw specialist for Coach Rose, and everybody knows that in the game of lacrosse, the draw means everything.
Grace McCarthy, second-year starter, over 70 draw control wins already this season. The depth doesn't start there. Shannon Smith, 35 points. Isabella Germani with 34. We will step aside on the Varsity Media Sports Network. When we come back, it's Northport against New Canaan battle, the top 16, two of the top 6 teams in the country on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effect set to music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email jeff@varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, sportscasts,
Under, and what a look.
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net. If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Of Gains for Brains, brought to you by the Long Island Yellow Jackets, of course, Tracy Weiner as well. Thank you for all your help in making this event possible. Again, a lot of the best teams from across the country here to play today, specifically from New York and Connecticut.
No doubt about it. And, when I was coaching at Farmingdale, we played in this tournament a lot. I'm a huge fan of Andrew Rappaport, who gets all this going for us on a regular basis. And anytime they do an event like this on Long Island, the Yellow Jackets are always happy to have a part of it.
And you can see the Yellow Jackets, a pretty incredible year a season ago. Number 2 in the United States, number 1 in New York State, and, of course, the number 1 club on Long Island, indisputably. And Tracy, I assume we're going to see a couple of Yellow Jackets today.
We're going to see more than a couple of Yellow Jackets today. But either way, it's still going to be a great day of lacrosse. I'm so looking forward to this game. I've been looking forward to it probably more than Coach Rose.
And
I'm very nervous.
We were talking to her this morning. She's a little worried about it, but I'm sure excited as well, the legendary head coach for Northport. And, of course, this is not the only game we have on the day. Garden City taking on Suffern, an upstate New York powerhouse. St. Anthony's against Greenwich Academy. That'll certainly be interesting. And we wrap up the day with the home team, Cold Spring Harbor, taking on Sacred Heart, another great team out of Connecticut. And then, of course, the action doesn't stop today. It's a full weekend of fun. Sunday at Mount Sinai, we got Sayville against John Jay. Eastport South Manor taking on Bronxville. And then, of course, Mount Sinai against Sacred Heart.
I think the ESM Bronxville game is going to be a good game as well. Bronxville's been playing really, really well lately. They beat Suffern, pretty handily yesterday. I mean, they've just been playing better and better.
And we get a look inside that Northport huddle. Carol Rose in her 32nd season leading the Tigers. She is the winningest coach in New York State with 457 wins, 2 state championships, including one in 2019, 13-time Suffolk champ, 9-time Long Island champ. Tracy, you got to cut me off. I can keep going all day on Carol.
I mean, I do think that Carol would have won the states last year if they had it as well. Her team was super strong. But as I see her on the sideline right now, I'm happy to say she has a fresh coat of paint in. Her hair's looking good, and she's ready to go.
And New Canaan, of course, led by Kristen Woods, a legendary head coach in her own right, 6-time state champion at New Canaan. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
The Rams won their first 21 games a year ago before falling to Darien, another top team in Connecticut. They return a whole lot of talent, and despite the loss of Hollis Mulry, they are ready to go today. So we're about to get underway here at Cold Spring Harbor High School. And you mentioned the dominance of Grace McCarthy on these draw controls.
Yes.
She will get an early try here.
And I'd like to see how, New Canaan, when they do have possession, how they handle the zone defense. Not too many high school teams see the kind of zone that Coach Rose runs.
So it was McCarthy against Kayla Harden. McCarthy got the win, and we are underway here at Cold Spring Harbor. Beautiful Saturday morning. And this Northport team has only played one close game all season. It was a 6-4 win over William Floyd earlier this week. A game that was slowed down, and an early shot, an early goal. There's Makowicz.
What a great feed by Huxtable. Again, Northport is a run-and-gun type team. They are not going to sit back. Even though there's no shot clock, they could care less. They are going to keep coming at you and always the pedal to the metal. When you see that play develop, Makowicz just comes off the screen, and there's Hux with the perfect pass. So, Hux on the weak side there. She's a lefty anyway, so it's perfect. You see her gain the space. Here comes Huck. You see Makowicz cuts right through. There's a lot of confusion on that. That's the one kid you don't want to leave open.
And New Canaan, this has been an issue for them getting off to slow starts. They were down 7-2 early against Victor before coming back and only losing by a goal. Down 4-0 against Darien. They came back, tied that game at 8. Darien went on to win 15-11, so it's been a big emphasis for Kristen Woods, and something that they'll try to remedy right here with the ball.
Well, this will be New Canaan's first possession, so they're either going to redraw. Okay, they could not decide who was closest to the sideline on that, so they'll redraw it.
We'll get another run at it. It's Devin Russell stepping into the circle this time. And what do you think makes Grace McCarthy special on the draw control?
It's probably her strength. It's one thing to be able to draw to yourself. That's something that's learned. But if you can direct the draw and you can push it, right here she's going to go to herself. And again, I think what makes her so incredible is just her stick control off the draw.
Devin Russell weaving through traffic. Russell coming off a huge 5-goal game against Darien, which is one of those players for Kristen Woods who plays her best in the biggest moments.
First possession, really important right here for New Canaan. You don't want to, have Northport just get on a tear and make a big play here.
Northport certainly capable of that. Dylan Patton, a couple of pass fakes, moves it along. Catherine Norton.
You look at Northport's defense, they're playing the zone defense, pop out on the ball, and you have somebody else shift over. There's always pressure on ball.
Has Carol always played the zone, or is that a new addition?
No, she's always played the zone, or some form of it. Ever since it became popular at Stony Brook, she kind of decided that no other team on Long Island can really do that, and it really messes up some high school teams.
Patton weaving inside and out, will recenter to Norton. And Northport staying very contained. And there's the tire. Dylan Patton on the shot.
You look at that, patience, 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 and the only way to break the zone down is understanding that the ball moves faster than the zone can shift. So anytime you're patient with the ball and you have good stick work, you run a better chance of breaking down a zone-type defense.
Dylan Patton, 53 goals a year ago, 28 this season for the Cornell commit, and that was an absolute laser.
It'd be interesting to see if there's any adjustments made on Patton. You look at the New Canaan film, you look at their stat box, and you know that everything's going to flow through this one kid, especially in a big game. And my question would always be, at some point, are you going to hard lock her and make everybody else around her beat you? That's more my style of coaching. I would have already face guarded her from jump. That's just me. I've always been the face guard type coach. I'm never going to let the best player on a team beat me.
And a little easier to do that with no Hollis Mulvey. Again, one of the top options for New Canaan, having torn her ACL a year ago. But the Rams win another draw control, and it's Stella Nolan weaving through a sea of white, then kicking it out to the perimeter to Caroline Underwood.
And she lost control there for a minute, but was able to get the ball back.
And we'll see if New Canaan can maintain that patient approach, not forcing the issue initially against Northport.
And there's no need. There's no shot clock in high school lacrosse. So in that regard, they can hold it for 3-4 minutes and wait for the defense to get exhausted.
And a dodge to the cage. Weaving in and out of traffic was Lexi Tully. And now a jump ball thrown in front of the net and intercepted. Northport going the other way with it. It's Ella Cabrera.
Okay, and that's always the pass you want to happen when you're running a zone defense. So you'll double down low, and you hope that they just try to dump it off to somebody, but everybody in the middle is waiting for that pass.
That pass too tall for Germani, and Tully will come up with it. A big emphasis for New Canaan coming out of that Darien game is winning 50-50 balls. So far, so good.
Absolutely, and you know, the transition game is always going to be huge, and you know, for the girls to settle in, see how it works, but whether it's college or high school, the transition game is always such a big part of the sport.
It gives you an opportunity, if you're New Canaan, to not have to deal with that zone if you can get up quickly enough.
True, you know.
But Northport is usually back.
Yeah, but you know, also New Canaan just showed some great redefending, which is a part of the game that enough teams don't work on. And it's such a big part of the game when you get to the next level. College coaches, you know, want to see what you can do on the ride.
Can you explain what you mean when you say read defending?
So when your team goes from the offensive end to the defensive end of the ball and the other team is bringing the ball up, what are your four low attackers going to do? How does your midfield stop the fast break? And nobody expects a player to be perfect ever, but what the coaches want to see is what you do when the ball does get turned over. What's your effort? What's your double team to use the sideline to your advantage? You know, those types of things.
And that's what Kristen Woods was getting at coming off those two losses. She said, we haven't put together a full 50-minute game with that level of constant intensity.
Correct.
And she said previously there was this expectation with having a younger team that someone else would step up. And she said, no, it has to be you, to each individual girl on her team. And we're seeing that early from New Canaan.
But that is a big girls, you know, issue, is they don't want to step on anybody's toes. You're a younger player. You know, you want to kind of bow down to the seniors. And that's a shame. You know, that should never happen. If you're a good lacrosse player, go be a good lacrosse player, whatever grade you're in. This is great defense by Northport, but they're spending a lot of time in the defensive end, and it can be exhausting. You know, and credit New Canaan for patience.
Oh, and there's a great look, and they pay it off with a goal. Devin Russell, her first.
And again, when you watch the zone, what you see is when the skip pass goes down low, it's usually the opposite side that ends up being open while the defense is shifting. And you see that on this particular play. The ball goes down low. If you're facing the cage to the right-hand side, Rhodes slides in on the weak side. So here they start on the left side, they move the ball to the right, and right there's a skip, and right there wide open. And nobody can rotate down low.
Picture-perfect pass by Lexi Tully. That was a sophomore-to-sophomore connection, so some of these younger players for New Canaan starting to find their confidence, and the Rams off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, they're playing well. They're moving the ball well. They're being patient on the offensive end, and they're just waiting for their opportunities. Look, the thing about, you know, all these games and everything that we do is there's plenty of tape to watch on all these teams. There's huddle, there's this, there's that. But there's a chance right here for Northport getting the call off the draw to even up this game.
Grace McCarthy will take it up. And they'll start the offense up with Isabella Germani. Again, the production, there's just so much balance for Northport early in this season. 4 different players with at least 20 points on the year already. Germani has 29 goals, Makowicz 37, Ella Cabrera with 20.
And, you know, for Northport, this is going to be a game that, you know, there's going to be no rest at halftime for her starters. And this is their 4th game of the week, which I was surprised to see on the schedule. So we'll see if they'll be able to put together a full 50 minutes of run and gun, basically.
We have St. Anthony's later today. We're calling their 3rd game this week. Everyone trying to get a lot in over this spring break and against premier competition.
Correct.
It's that 1 week everyone has the flexibility to travel. I know for New Canaan, Kristen Woods was talking about how awesome it is to be back at this event as we have free position for Northport. Connecticut schools couldn't play out of state a year ago. So prime opportunity for Northport to tie this game up.
Surrounded by red shirts, though. It's not going to be an easy 8-meter.
And instead, McLam will reset from X. Shannon Smith leading the team in assists, sets up Makowicz for her 2nd goal.
And they're going to have to watch Makowicz. That's the 2nd time that they've allowed her to slide in one on nobody in front of the cage. She is very deceptive on offense, and really the New Canaan defense, someone's going to have to spy her, because this is the second time that this has happened today. And you watch, she just kind of gets caught in the flow, and right there, as soon as the defender steps up, she slides right in. There's nobody to pick her up.
And when you hear a girl has or a guy has 50 points, 37 goals through 9 games, you think of this physically explosive, dominant scorer. But Makowic's greatest strength is her ability to move off the ball.
Without a doubt. And it's the crafty player that does really well. Look, size and strength has a lot to do for some aspects of the game, but when you're on attack, being shifty and great stick work, those are the two qualities that really always excel.
So New Canaan shuffling it up in the draw control circle. This time around, it's Lexi Tully, the sophomore, fresh off that great assist.
Well, they're going to keep rotating people around. They don't want McCarthy to get too comfortable. They don't want her to figure it out. And that's a pretty good strategy.
Ground ball, McCarthy straight to it, but shuffled around, and Dylan Patton, a great scoop.
Yeah, I don't think McCarthy plays field hockey. That was more of a field hockey scoop as opposed to a lacrosse move.
New Canaan, actually, a couple of girls, namely Kayla Harden, a star who play ice hockey.
Well, there you go. My favorite sport, other than lacrosse.
Yeah, so there's a great story on Kayla Harden. Triple overtime state championship game in ice hockey. The whole crowd is chanting some not so nice things about her. The opposing coach goes up to her and says, "Hey, at least they know your name." And she responds, "They're about to," and scores the game-winning goal in triple OT. She's that kind of competitor.
She's like Kenzie Kent, a couple of years ago at Boston College. Was an amazing ice hockey player as well.
As that ball's thrown away, so Northport and Ella Cabrera will work the clear as she's harangued on the ride, able to weave through it. There's the athleticism for Cabrera.
Not only athleticism, but the wherewithal. That ball was checked out of her stick with 3 defenders on her, and she just kept her calm, picked up the ball, and kept right on going.
At 1.4 red jerseys in her general vicinity. Doesn't matter for the Under Armour All-American.
Nah, she's a good girl, She's just a nice kid, too. She's one of those kids that you're so happy when good things happen.
Shannon Smith puts on a couple fakes, circles the cage, and is denied at the precipice by Claire Mahoney, the goaltender for New Canaan. And I believe that's a crease violation and will return possession to New Canaan.
That was a nice move, a good shot and a good save.
Claire Mahoney heading to Brown a year from now, the senior leader for this New Canaan side. And now it's Northport interfering on the ride, but New Canaan able to fight through it. And they'll have an opening to the cages. Kayla Harden on the run and cut off at the last second.
That was a good ride. Sometimes it's not about the check or anything. It's just about riding her out of the critical scoring area, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah, she came close to turning the corner, but Northport just able to beat her there.
New Canaan's one of the few teams, though, that'll be able to go step for step with Northport. Not a lot of teams can run with them.
Yeah, Harden versus Cabrera in particular, two of the best 20 players in the country. That's a heck of a matchup to watch.
So fun. How lucky are we to get on the same field?
You were saying it during our St. Anthony's against Manhasset game. 2 other top 10 teams. It feels like you're watching a high-level college lacrosse game.
Without a doubt.
And Tracy, I'm sure you get a lot of that over the summer with the Yellow Jackets, but it doesn't.
Yes.
It brings something extra out of great players, right? When you have similar talent on the other side.
Well, I always say that for the club, they get to choose, but when you play a high school game, you just have your teammates based on where your parents decided to buy a house. Like, that's crazy when you think about it.
Pass lobbed in, no room for Harden to operate. Harden puts on a couple fakes. She's double teamed. We'll toss it back to Russell. Russell diving shot, and it's recovered by Caitlin Tully. Scramble in front of the net.
Nice save by Morris. That was a nice first save of the game for her, and that's a big confidence builder.
Megan Morris, a sophomore, been a starter the last 2 years. They brought her up in 8th grade to get her ready. Her older sister Claire, the starter on the 2019 state championship team for Northport, now starring for Ohio State.
Absolutely, and Morris is a verbal commit at Marist University.
Lob pass inside. Harden with room and a goal. What a shot.
Again, we're going to be saying Harden's name a lot today. And obviously she's the one, and she said, I'm going to put this team on my shoulders. Follow the lead, ladies. Just give me the ball and everybody get out of my way. And, those are my favorite kind of players. Not afraid of the spotlight. So many girls get all stressed out about it. Nah, not this kid. Look at it. That's a great pass, by the way. That play doesn't happen without the feed pass right there.
Over the top by Lexi Tully, her second assist of this one. Harden, a North Carolina commit. She doesn't just star in ice hockey or lacrosse. She also is fantastic at soccer. Just one of those girls every season a different sport.
Multi-sport athlete, and there's a lot of discussion that goes on. Should you be sports specific? Should you be a multi-sport athlete? I think there's something special about wearing your high school uniform on a regular basis.
McCarthy got that ball high in the air. It was recovered by McLam. She was dispossessed for a second, but now it'll be Northport
Yeah,
ball.
that was a penalty. That was a held cross right there. Good call.
She's chased from behind by Tully. Will push the ball up. And losing possession for the moment was Kate Atkinson, the 8th grader, but she'll get it on the restart.
That check would be good in college and maybe in the summer circuit, but not in a high school game. There was no retraction to that at all. So that would be the only thing. I mean, the stick was in perfect position to be checked. It was just how she went about it.
Do you have a preference on how that's called?
I do. Yeah, I think that should have been a turnover personally, but that's just me. You shouldn't be rewarded for, your stick hanging a country mile.
The Northport will show off a little patience of their own offensively. Shannon Smith, 22 assists this year as a senior. She's heading to High Point next season.
That's a beautiful campus. High Point is gorgeous. Got going to a country club for college.
Not a bad deal.
Like Coastal Carolina, they're the same. Those schools down there are just beautiful.
Smith calling for a cutter.
They work a lot from X Northport. Very rarely do they walk the ball from up top. Most of their plays come from X. Every coach has their own offensive sets, where they feel comfortable. But I find lately up top, it's just very hard to drive from up top of the 12, 14 meter because that's where the defense is so strong. I always preferred X in the elbow as a coach.
And especially with some of the individual defenders on these two teams, as Northport punctures the defense that time around. Julia Huxtable gets on the board and ties this game at 3.
Okay, so they switch that up a little bit. Hux is usually on X, but down low, feeding Makowitz. This time Makowitz says, hey, Hux, let me return the favor. And I love it. And that was just a beautiful play. And again, Hux, who I'm lucky, she plays for me all summer as well. She's a lefty, and you see her come off the weak side. No defender. Back is turned. The defensive back is turned. And she's just standing there, and that's her strong spot. Lefty, she's going to bury that every time.
Easy money for Julia Huxtable, and that's the big improvement in Kaylee Makowicz's game this year. Has always been a fantastic scorer, but Carol Rose noting she spent this offseason working on her distribution and just has more of an intent this year to find her teammates and to set them up. That time leveraging the attention paid her way, and Northport all even at 3.
Well, what happens is as you get better and your name gets known and everybody, like I said, watches the tape, all of a sudden you start to pick up the number 1 defender or the number 2 defender, and at that point now you have to look for your other options.
Harden batted that ball about 10 yards down the field, but it's still loose, and finally the Tigers come up with it. Emma McLam on the clear. And Angela Longo, the Arizona State commit, will move it along. Germani, Northport in transition. It's Atkinson weaving in and out. Couple of 8th graders get significant time for the Tigers. It's Atkinson and Emma Greenberg, a starter on defense as a middle schooler.
As a middle schooler. That's a nice sentence to say, isn't it?
We saw it for Manhasset the other day in the goalie spot.
Yeah, and what an athletic little goalie that was. They have 2 good goalies at Manhasset. They're lucky. Not a lot of coaches have that dilemma.
Ella Cabrera doubled immediately, forced to push it out to McLam, and she'll have free position.
She has a good angle here. There's only, 2 red shirts on either side of her. If she has a quick first step, she can beat this and get the cage.
McLam, the Delaware commit, has 9 goals, 6 assists this season. A ground ball maven for Carol Rose. She'll set it out to Cabrera. Cabrera, quick pass. Atkinson. Inside look. Oh, and a point-blank shot missed by Germani. Great presence in net that time for Mahoney.
Yeah, Germani had a lot more time, too. I think had she understood who was next to her, she really could have threw a fake and really took her time on that shot. I mean, not a lot of time, but more than just to turn and fire.
Great pace to this game so far, 14 minutes in. Both teams looking very sharp, and I would say just ready for this stage. Ducking in on a big cut and finish. It's Ella Cabrera.
You know, Ella saw that play developing. When you talk about a classic draw and dump from the top, that's what we just witnessed. You know, and I just think that if you're watching this game and you want to know how the game's supposed to be played, right there. Drew the two defenders, dump it off, but Cabrera catches that, you know, from Germani. She's in an all-out sprint at that point, and it's very hard for the defense to catch that. So a lot of players, they stand, and I always used to kid around with my own team. I'd say, don't grow, you know, roots on the bottom of your cleats while you're watching the play. You have to anticipate. It's like a chess match, this game. Know where the ball's going to be, a pass or two from where you are, and you'll always be more successful.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just saying, just can't catch the ball standing still.
No, absolutely. And Cabrera at that size and speed, she just looks like a different level of athlete
100%.
than anyone else on this field.
She's just a special, special player. And like I said, just a sweetheart of a human.
Dylan Patton got the win that time. Again, Cabrera will be heading to North Carolina, where she'll actually be playing with Kaylee Harden. So those two, again, we keep talking about it, a chance for some trash-talking brownie points heading into next season.
Isn't that the best part of high school club sports? These people that are your, like, enemies for, you know, years and years and years, all of a sudden become your teammate and probably your roommate.
Northport a 4-3 advantage. Game 1, Gains for Brains, presented by the Long Island Yellow Jackets. First of 4 games on the day.
Beautiful venue here, beautiful weather, thank goodness. I'm ready for the spring to be fully sprung. I'm not feeling any temperature under the 60s at this point.
We've had some colder days, some colder games. That's certainly a variable in how the games are played. I think it favors the attack a little bit more as the weather warms up.
The spoiled attack, yes, they like to play in the 70s and the 80s.
As that pass deflected. Good bit of defending from Northport. Charlotte McGrody on the back end. New Canaan able to maintain possession, though. Tully, who's been spectacular as a facilitator, draws the double. As New Canaan continues to be patient offensively, they've been spectacular on this side of the ball.
Well, they have, and you notice they don't hold the ball for too long. You cannot hold the ball for too long when you're playing against the zone. There's no one girl that you say, pass it already, get rid of it, get rid of it. They know. It's like 1, 2, 3, get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, you know, see if I have an opening to the goal, see if anybody's cutting, and then get rid of it. And that's how you break down the zone.
And just the depth of options, so impressive for New Canaan. I mean, most teams cannot afford to lose a 40-goal scorer and still have this kind of offense, but New Canaan has built that infrastructure as a program.
Correct.
Stella Nolan puts on a couple fakes, double-teamed, and it's Longo nearly knocking it away.
Yeah, that was a great double team there by Northport. Just didn't come up with the free shot.
Tully, a couple fakes, and drawing the flag.
You know, when you give a team like New Canaan second and third attempts, that ground ball, you know, giving it back to them, you can't give a team like New Canaan those kind of opportunities.
Tully one-on-one with Megan Morris. Sophomore versus sophomore. Tully straight to the cage, a dunk shot off the mark. Excuse me, Megan Morris, a junior. And came up on that 2019 team, got to play behind her sister.
Yes.
Oh, good look inside, and it's good. Caroline Underwood tying this game up at 4.
Caroline Underwood, number 9.
What a great play. What a you know, just again, the patience of New Canaan is what I'm impressed with. You know, they just keep coming at you until the defense breaks down. Nothing Morris could do on that one.
And Caroline Underwood, Kristen Wood saying she has a great feel, and she's really fantastic on that crease roll. You saw it all that time.
Without a doubt. And to me, it still goes back to that ground ball missed opportunity. Give New Canaan 2 or 3 extra shots at the cage, and at some point, you know, they're going to connect.
And it's interesting. I think some of the issues that New Canaan was having throughout the year, because they hadn't been winning those ground balls and getting themselves those extra opportunities. And when they had them, they weren't always taking advantage of them. And we always talk about, or at least this last week working with you, Tracy, the fire that competition puts you through and what it forges on the other end of it. New Canaan taking on Victor, taking on Darien. They look like a different team in this third game against a premier opponent.
Well, yeah, and you have to do that. If you're really a top team and you aspire to be considered in that top 10 5 conversation, you must challenge yourself. Because the majority of the high school teams that you're going to play are not going to be at your level for whatever the reasons are. Whether you don't play, an ABC schedule on Long Island, like a lot of these players, they play smaller schools. When you have like a Cold Spring Harbor playing, one of the higher level schools in the conference, they're a D school, Cold Spring Harbor, and they could play against let's say Farmingdale for my own team was an A school.
They got Sacred Heart this week. They have St. Anthony's next week.
So they really challenge themselves, and they're not always in the advantageous spot.
As Northport looks to break the other way, it's McLam on the clear. And for the Tigers, it was interesting relating this to another team in this event, St. Anthony's. We talked to them about when they played McDonough, and they said, it was a shock for us seeing that speed for the first time this year. For Northport, this is the first national opponent that they played this season, so it is that initial gut punch, and it's kind of how you respond to it.
Yeah, they scrimmage St. Anthony's, but we all know that's not the same as a real game.
Do you have any intel on how that went? Or non-shareable intel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Is that I know that's a game a lot of people on Long Island want to see, in I guess in a public venue.
Yeah, I don't really comment on a scrimmage anyway, because for me, there's too many variables.
Yeah, because if you're a coach, sometimes you might just want to get a specific look in that kind of game, and you're not necessarily playing to win. You're playing to how does this work against elite competition.
Right, and I just feel like, with no official, everybody in and out and whatnot, it's really hard to gauge. But I would love to have seen that game in real life.
Again, two teams widely considered the two best on Long Island. St. Anthony's this week knocking off Wantagh and Manhasset as Germani gets a big interception, a chance for a transition goal, speeds by the defender and loses the ball. Good recovery by Caroline Barron for New Canaan. And a scoop along the sideline. Oh, out of play.
Nice hustle by Huxtable on that. Again, that's a stat that's not going to show up, in the books, but that's a big hustle play by Hux on the, Germani had a great opportunity.
And there's the put-in, ducking in front of the net and scoring her first goal, Shannon Smith.
Shannon Smith makes a nice play here, avoiding the sticks. And again, Germani makes a great feed, but that all is because of the hustle of Huxtable, without a doubt. And right here, so Germani sees the opening, catches it on the move, Shannon Smith does, and just buries that shot. There's nothing the goalie can do on that.
For Shannon Smith, her 14th goal on the season, 36-point. She's a player who just seems to have a nose for the cage, whether it's passing or scoring, always in that general vicinity, and seems to always make the right decision.
Well, when you play a game like this, again, your number one defenders probably going to get Makowitz. Number two, you're going to try to match up against Cabrera, Germani. So it really comes down to 3, 4, 5. Can they expose those matchups? And that's where Shannon Smith shines.
Final 5 minutes or so of this first half. New Canaan's been good on the draw control so far.
They have. First half flew, tell you.
And that time, McCarthy doing a good job to draw the foul, and she'll get restarted trying to beat the ride. McCarthy did a great job just holding that ball close to her chest, not giving New Canaan a chance at it.
She did. I was wondering if they were going to call it for, sometimes it's an illegal cradle when you get, that kind of place, but she really wasn't anywhere near her sphere cradling.
Neither team is led by more than a goal. And
8-meter?
Northport trying to change that.
Yep. Obstruction of shooting space there. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Plenty of room for McLam.
Well, they haven't taken too many 8 meters, though. They seem to have passed them off a lot.
I believe it was McLam last time passing out of this situation. She'll do the same. Maybe wanting to hold on to possession a little bit longer after New Canaan has had it for so much of this first half.
I just think that Northport wants to take higher percentage shots, to be honest. She can run that in, but she had 2 red shirts on either side of her, and it was a bad angle to the cage.
Cabrera up top. Little stutter step move. And you can see the power Cabrera lofting a pass. And that was Cabrera versus Devon Russell. McLam, quick scoop. Reset to Cabrera. Cabrera lofting one in. Shot and good. Germani. And a 2-goal lead for Northport.
You know, that's a play I believe that they run up top between Germani and Cabrera, because you see that they were looking for each other the whole time. Going back and forth. They let a third person catch it. When the defense shifts, it comes right back to Cabrera, who dumps it off to Germani. And I think that's, you know, the whole draw up of that particular play there. You'll see here. Looking for, and that was almost picked off. The defender was right there, but, you know, Germani makes a great grab in traffic. It's hard to make that catch, and then buries the shot.
And how about, I mean, just how high she kept her stick right at that height. It's almost like a basketball thing where they tell you always keep the ball high. Germani not giving the defense a chance to go and get it.
Yeah, well, and she's a big target, too. So, you know, she just gets that stick up and above her defenders. And clearly Cabrera is the kind of kid that's just going to thread the needle.
Yeah, Germani, if anyone in this Northport team could be underrated, it's her. A Stony Brook commit, the best dodger on the team, the leader of the team. She'll run some draw control for Carol Rose. She'll play some midfield, just sort of fills in all the gaps, and that was her 30th goal this season as well.
And Joe Spallino will have a good time with her.
New Canaan possession.
Dylan Patton moved it up against the ride. And this feels like a crucial stretch for New Canaan. 3 minutes left in the half. They've played a fantastic game so far, but trailing by 2 goals. Now, this is where Northport tends to separate against a lot of teams. New Canaan has to find an answer.
Well, this is a big possession. You know, you have 3 minutes left. You know, it's going to be a matter also of momentum at this point. You know, you don't want to not score here and give Northport an opportunity to go up by 3 goals leading into the half.
I know Tracy's the coach. That was always a big emphasis for you, how you finish halves and how you start halves.
100%. And Coach Rose has her hands up like a touchdown. I don't wonder what she's thinking at the moment.
She wants them to get to 7.
I think she wants them to pressure the ball a little bit.
That makes more sense. Stella Nolan. Again, rapid fire passing for New Canaan.
Just trying to get the defense moving and wait for the opening. Wait for that one kid to turn her head the wrong way, and an attacker can just slide in. But I would imagine that they're going to go to their big guns in the last 2 minutes of the half.
Well, and Kaylee Harden is about as big of a gun as there is in girls high school lacrosse.
No question.
19 goals on the season for her. Someone who obviously sees a ton of attention from defenses, even more so with Mulry out. Hasn't mattered as the toss back, and that shot off the mark from Harden as Patton circled it around back to her.
So what Patton did on that one was she circled around, she beat a defender, they waited for the next defender to slide. That's when Harden slipped in. But the trail defender was able to pick up Harden enough to alter her shot.
Both these teams run just some gorgeous offense. You watch them,
Very
and the
patient.
off-ball cutting. And to your point, I mean, as much as you can coach that, just the chemistry and the intuition of their players is just fantastic.
And the fundamentals. Can't catch, can't throw, can't play. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. These girls don't even drop a pass.
Underwood made a good snag that time around. Dodge put on by Russell. So Northport doing a good job to deter her drive.
Well, when you watch New Canaan, so you see what they try to do. So they'll drive if you're facing the cage to the right. As the defensive shifts, they try to reverse it to the opposite side.
Harden against the triple team. I believe it was a stick to the head that time.
It's going to be a yellow card.
So Dylan Patton will pop on out. Grab that right ear.
She did. Caught the attention of the official.
Yellow card for Northport.
So coming off for Northport is Angelina Longo, the Arizona State commit, and a prime opportunity for Dylan Patton, the leading goal scorer at 29 for New Canaan.
This is a great opportunity right here for New Canaan because the defense is difficult enough. Now you have man up, and you know there should be a little more breathing room.
62 seconds until the half. And just from a momentum perspective, what the psyche of your team is going to the break, this feels like a crucial moment. Could be a big stop for Northport or a 1-goal game.
Correct.
Patton on the whistle. Denied.
A little bit of goalie, a little bit of pipe on that.
New Canaan holds on, still up a player. Shot put in wide of net that time from Dylan Patton. 45 seconds to go now. Loft pass, and unable to catch it was Patton, tried to one-time it. And a slip shot goes down. Fourth opportunity, Lexi Tully pays it off, and it's what you've been talking about, Tracy. You give a team like New Canaan that many chances, they will eventually pay it off.
Yeah, they had 2 shots on goal that weren't successful. A third attempt, ball on the ground, another pickup by New Canaan. You can't give them 4 opportunities to score. Tully does a nice job, though, in traffic of even just getting her hands free and being able to get that shot off. Keeping it low on the carpet. And, we talk about that as well, and from our previous broadcasts, those high shots, the goalie can pick up on those. It's the low ones where they have to make all those adjustments. Everybody's feet are in the way. It's hard for them sometimes to pick up that ball.
Yeah, Megan Morris in particular, pretty tall in net. Hard to get down that far to save that shot. And remember, in girls lacrosse, that penalty continues despite the goal. So New Canaan, this feels like a big opportunity for them if they can win the draw control, and they do. Patton again, speeding up the field.
What a momentum changer if they can go in at halftime tied.
Russell, couple dodges. What a race to the cage, and gets it to go.
You see that, never a stop in her footwork, ever. Russell gets the ball, splits the high defense, and just keeps on going. Never stops her feet, never hesitates. And before the defense collapses on her, that's when she lets that shot go. So within 15 seconds, Northport goes from a 2-point, lead going into halftime to all tied up.
And Devin Russell, it feels like she's having a star turn. A 5-goal game against Darien as a sophomore, 2 goals already against Northport. You're talking about probably 2 of the top 5 teams in America, and as an underclassman, she has been dominant.
Well, what happens in the girls' game clearly is, it's all about confidence in a girls' game. And when they start feeling the confidence as a sophomore, if the upperclassmen make you feel comfortable in shooting and scoring, then, you're just going to keep doing what you do.
Another win for New Canaan. They've already gotten 2 goals off this penalty in the last 2 minutes. Can they tack on a third? On the run, it's Harden. Harden trying to bend the corner, diving shot, tripped up as she attacked the crease.
Well, she got called for a crease violation on that. That was just good defense, riding and riding. She was just trying to create space that wasn't there.
Harden maybe a little too opportunistic, and that'll end the first half. A 6-6 tie. What a finish for New Canaan. So we will step aside on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Maybe run to your kitchen, grab some lunch, grab a little coffee if you woke up early for this one. Come back and join us. A fantastic finish coming up between 2 of the top 10 teams in the country on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Varsity Media is the tri-state area sports leader. We offer an array of services for any team, coach, player, athletic director, and parent. From game film to live streaming, we are available to cover your event anytime, any place. Looking for an enhanced experience? How about a professional broadcast with multiple camera angles, announcers, graphics, and instant replay? Need a highlight reel? We produce individual highlights for college recruiting and team highlight videos for end-of-season banquets. And when it comes to social media, nobody has you covered better than us. Hype videos, sideline highlights. We can tailor custom videos to make your team stand out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Why waste your time dealing with anyone else? When it comes to sports video, Varsity Media stands alone. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net.
So a reminder, if you want to bring your game to life, you can now with the Varsity Media Sportscast. We feature announcers, as you're hearing, instant replay, multiple cameras, graphics. It doesn't get much better than that. For rivalry games, for senior day, for general promotion of your team, contact us to book a sportscast at 516-403-2050 or visit varsitymedia.net.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effect sets and music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email jeff@varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, sportscasts,
Under, and what a look.
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net. If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effect sets and music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email jeff@varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, sportscasts,
Under, and what a look.
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net. If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Sponsored today in this event could not happen without the help of the Long Island Yellow Jackets. Head to liyellowjackets.com to learn more about them or just listen to my fantastic color analyst, Tracy Weiner, number 2 team in the country, number 1 in New York State. Credentials go on and on and on. The point is you guys are really good, and we want to thank you for all your help.
It's a pleasure to do this. Anytime we get a chance to promote girls lacrosse, I'm always happy to be a part of it.
And can you tell us a little more about the Long Island's Blue Trip Women's Elite Lacrosse Camp coming this summer?
Well, what happens is a lot of times, we have to travel down to Maryland and go all over the place to get the college coaches. But we're fortunate to have them all here on Long Island. And you see it's Maryland, UMass, Syracuse, Iona, Marist, Brown, Yale, Florida.
Whoa. My alma mater, Arizona State, needs a shout-out.
Of course. Well, Arizona State, their assistant coach, Dorian Van Dyke, played for Coach Rose.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, we have a nice little connection there. So they all come and they actually coach the girls and run a lot of the stations. So it's a great opportunity for the all Long Island players. It's not just a Yellow Jacket event. It's open to everybody on Long Island.
That's amazing. And something anyone watching, if you have a kid playing Long Island High School lacrosse, certainly should take advantage of. So we got a look at New Canaan, and it was a game-changing penalty. Or let's look at Northport one more time. Number 1 ranked team on Long Island, 2019 state champions, 2021 Long Island champs. There was no state championship play next year, where Northport at 21-0 would have been heavy favorites. They come into this game a 46-game winning streak on the line. We talk about Carol Rose, a Hall of Fame, all everything, winningest coach in New York State. But it feels like in her 32nd season, this program is peaking.
Absolutely. And every year they just reload. They're not one of those teams that ever has to rebuild. And, it's just... I don't know. It's hard. I was on the sideline myself for 30 years. It's hard year in and year out to always have the X on your back and always find a way to still be in that spotlight. And she has, everybody listening knows that obviously she's my best friend. And all we do is talk lacrosse. You look up Live, Love, Lax in the dictionary, and it's probably Carol's picture. And, you see her right there with Alexis Curcio, a former player of hers, who also went to University of Delaware. Just a great assistant coaching staff. Her husband's been with her forever. And now she's bringing her son along, Kobe, and I just think it's that consistency. Every kid at Northport knows what to expect because it's been the same for 32 years.
And every kid grows up with a legend to look at. I mean, there are little girls running around Northport right now thinking, I want to be the next Kaylee Makowicz, I want to be the next Ella Cabrera, but that cycle has gone on and on and on. Absolutely,
and there were so many before them, and even now that the coaching tree that Carol has is amazing, and that's a real credit to her, that her players, as they grow up and get older, want to still give back to the sport.
And similar story for New Canaan. I mean, they produced Olivia Homp, the all-time leading scorer at Princeton, Sarah Manley, a top 5 Taunton finalist, also from Princeton, Jenna Simpson, who played for Team England. Both these programs, such a rich history, and the job that Kristen Woods has done is just incredible. 6 state titles in 14 seasons. Dealing with Darien every year, that's no easy task, but they win year in and year out.
Well, Olivia Homp, too, I remember, we played them, it would probably be the 2013, it was our state championship season, and Olivia scored in double overtime over my girl, Nadine Nagy, who went on to be a Tewaaraton finalist at Maryland her senior year and won 3 national titles. So I know this team well. Olivia Homp was a special player.
New Canaan with the cause turnover.
Those things can happen. So here Northport gets a clean draw control. They have the ball, and a way to start the half off in an up position, and they turn it over.
And, it was that crucial mistake in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Northport had regained momentum, 3 straight goals to take a 6-4 lead, commit that penalty.
Well, they're still man down at this point.
Right, and so it still could be paid off even more by New Canaan, but New Canaan ripped off 2 goals in 2 minutes to take the lead, looking for a third, and they'll get it. Dylan Patton once again, and New Canaan has the lead back, and that penalty looking ever more painful for Northport.
Correct, and when you think about it, they scored 3 goals off a 2-minute penalty, and that's, especially going into halftime, the momentum, New Canaan the girls are up and cheering and screaming. They have a renewed energy.
And how about just the sense of spacing on that shot from Dylan Patton? Put on a little spin move and just knew where the cage was right away, knew where she wanted to put that ball. Great placement on it to beat Megan Morris.
Without a doubt. And that's what happens when you're man down. There's always going to be an opening, and your better players are going to know where to find that opening.
And again, I just imagine, whatever the final result of this game, and Kristen Woods has to be so excited because all the opportunities just in the last 2 weeks that New Canaan has missed against Victor and against Darien, they're executing on against maybe even a greater opponent in Northport.
Yeah, and it's a well-balanced attack, and everybody's touching the ball, everybody's moving it, everybody's feeling it. But to me right now, the difference in this game is the ride of New Canaan. They're giving Northport fits getting the ball into the offensive zone cleanly.
And they've done a better job on the draw control against Grace McCarthy than just about anyone this year, and maybe even going back to last year.
Yeah, and the 50-50 ground balls. A lot of times, you'll see Northport making a turnover or a a shot that, Morris saves, but Northport's not coming up at the 50-50 ground ball.
Yeah, Tracy, you would know this better than I would, but it feels like, because that was the same thing we were hearing from St. Anthony's when they played McDonough for the first time. When you play that first game against premier competition, that speed might be the biggest thing to adjust to.
Without a doubt. But I think the ball movement.
And another duck in and another goal back-to-back for Dylan Patton. It's 4 straight for New Canaan, and the Rams have their biggest lead at 2.
So what Dylan Patton does on this particular play is she attacks the zone. She brings the defenders up to her. They go for the stick check, and you'll see on the initial play here. So here she catches the ball, moves in. There goes the initial. Everybody slides to that side, and she cuts the opposite.
What have you seen from Patton so far as a scorer? Again,
Shifty.
one of the premier attackers in Connecticut.
Just shifty. She knows how to avoid the contact. But again, when you play offense, it is like a chess match. She seems to know 1 or 2 steps ahead where the defense is going and where her opening to attack is going to be. And that has made all the difference.
She has a great sense of time and space, and she's heading to play at Cornell a year from now.
Well, that's a big pickup for Jenny Grapp at Cornell. The Ivy League is not easy to play in, and I think that she's got a good one.
Patton now has 84 goals over the last 2 seasons.
The draw control, more than anything, is going to be the nemesis of Northport.
Such a strength for them this season and last season. Again, Grace McCarthy has won over 70 on the year. And a pass lofted in front of the net and a big-time stop for Morris. Ball up for grabs, and Northport going to come up with it.
That's a big save and a big moment by Morris. Let's see if Northport can capitalize on that.
And they cannot.
Okay, so that's an interesting call for me. I'm not really understanding the play-on rule. Sometimes you just get the ball and you keep going. Sometimes you have to wait for the official's whistle. I always, as a coach, had a hard time navigating that as well because it didn't make sense to me. But on that one, I think they had to wait for the official's whistle, and they did not, so she called her for, moving inappropriately, whatever the foul is called. False start.
Will an official tell a player that, hey, this time you have to wait? Or?
No.
So
officials don't say anything.
Seems a little unfair.
Yeah.
Anyways, Devin Russell moving it along to Dylan
It's just
Patton.
a bad timing of that particular call for Northport. And again, when the wheels come off, every little thing happens to you at the same time. So they're going to need a big defensive stand right here. Northport will never go away, though. That's the one thing I'm going to tell you. 2 or 3 goals isn't going to phase them.
And again, a team, when you win 46 games in a row, there's a certain confidence, there's a certain DNA to that you just have that mentality that we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, but they've been playing a lot of defense today, something that they're not used to. They're usually on the offense attack on a regular basis.
And we've noted a couple of times we'll continue to have just not played a team like New Canaan this season.
Well, and again, nobody drops the ball. Nobody makes a mistake. When you play the zone defense, you're used to teams getting flustered. You're used to teams throwing the ball away. That has not happened at all today.
Couple of dodges for Tully and another one for New Canaan. 5 in a row and a 3-goal lead for the Rams.
Well, on that one, Tully got McGroarty to kind of get off the line there, the pie slice, and so she just did an inside roll on her, takes it to the inside. You see here, McGroarty's out really high, and right there takes it to the inside. And once you get that space, it's money.
Caitlin Tully, once again, going into this week, had not played a game for 2 seasons, tore her ACL back-to-back years, was still dealing with tendinitis, trying to recover and get ready. She came back against Eastport South Manor, got 2 goals, comes in for the first time in the second half, or at least the first time I've noticed her, and immediately tacks on a big goal for New Canaan.
Without a doubt, and it's good timing. It's a smart play. And Northport, like I said, their defense has been playing a majority of this game. So that's something that they're not used to. They're going to make an adjustment here or just try to stop the flow. But I think it's going to start with the draw.
If you were in the huddle for Northport, what is the adjustment you're making at this point?
So what I'm saying to them, okay, girls, let's just breathe first of all. Just take a deep breath. We have 20 minutes still to go in a 3-goal game. We all know they scored 3 goals in the last 2 minutes. So we're good. And I would just say it starts with the draw. Let's get the draw and let's value the ball.
And we want to remind you, if you have similar talented girls to the many in this game that are headed to the next level, At Varsity Media, we make college recruiting videos. We offer custom editing effects to help your players stand out. You choose your own music, and we'll give you a link to send out to college coaches. So why do it? Because you could potentially save a whole lot of money. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars on college tuition and help your player, boy or girl, land a spot on the team of their dreams and stand out from the competition. You mentioned this ad, you'll get 10% off. You want to do that, you can contact us at 516-403-2050 or email jeff@varsitymedia.net. And I'm with you, Tracy. I think the big thing that flipped in this game is possession, because we've seen this methodical, efficient offense from New Canaan throughout. The difference early on was Northport was holding the ball just as much, but that has completely flipped as New Canaan has dominated it's only the last 5 minutes where they've gotten 5 goals in this game.
Yeah, Northport had a great opportunity to blow this game open, and that penalty just came at the worst time, and New Canaan just took advantage of it. I mean, when you think about it, New Canaan's been on, a 6-0 run since the penalty?
It was 6-4, so 5-0.
5-0. So, that's a big swing. And Northport's not used to being held scoreless for 2 minutes, much less 10 or 15.
And we just haven't said those names, Cabrera, Makiewicz, because they haven't had the ball. And that's, the best way to stop a great offense is to not let them be on offense.
No question about it. But I do think that you have to give New Canaan credit for their skill level, for their patience, for their ball movement, for their tenacity on the 50-50 ground balls. And I do think that speed-wise, they're just as fast as Northport in the midfield. Dirty in the 30s always wins the games.
So it's Lexi Tully in the draw control again. That has been a significant factor. We'll see if Grace McCarthy can get back on track. McCarthy heading to play her college lacrosse at Eastern Carolina, still 2 years away. She's just a junior. McCarthy gets the win. Crucial for Northport.
That was a huge draw win for McCarthy. Not playing any games. I'm going to get it to myself, and then I'm going to do my thing. That's going to get picked off.
Angelina Longo, an ill-advised pass. Transition the other way for New Canaan, and now they'll slow things down.
So Northport listened to one part of my advice, right? They won the draw, but the second part, right?
Halfway there.
Gotta, right? Possess the ball. I'm curious to see if New Canaan try to slow the pace down just a little bit now.
Nolan will do just that. New Canaan was ranked as high as the 4th best team in America, according to USA Lacrosse magazine. 2 losses last week to Victor and Darien, dropped them down to 6, but we'll have an opportunity to rise right back up in the national rankings with a win over Northport, the 2nd-ranked team in the country.
Without a doubt.
Still a long way to go, 19 and a half minutes on the clock, and in Northport, they've come back a couple of times over that 46-game winning streak. Certainly have it within them to do so.
Well, and again, with no shot clock in high school, you really, as New Canaan, you can take as much time as you want on every possession.
Hardin dumps it off to Russell. Russell will circle back out.
It's such a big change at the college level. They only have 90 seconds, and then on the second possession, they only get 60 back of the 90. So it's very, very different rules at the next level.
Fake put on by Russell. Looking inside. As a high school coach, how do you, when you have a girl who's going to go on and play high-level college, how do you prepare them for that when it's just, again, not how you play at the high school level?
Yeah, you can't. Just like you can't prepare your defenders because they're not allowed to cut through the crease in high school. It's a disservice to all the athletes that play this game, and in all honesty, I don't understand why women's lacrosse college and high school rules are different.
Makes it even more impressive. I mean, we talked about all these girls on Long Island that are already contributing right away at their respective colleges to have to make those adjustments, I mean, not just from a physicality and size and athleticism perspective, but from how the game is played, as Hardin is cut off with a triple team. And now circling is Tully. Tully, a fake put on by Hardin.
Look at the patience. Look at the ball movement. There's no drops. There's no...
And there was the ambitious pass. They were looking for Stella Nolan. It'll dribble out of the crease. It was a good job deflecting it by Emma Brazier.
But unfortunately, Brazier then, hits the turf and is unable to corral that ball. So now we give New Canaan a brand new possession.
And it felt like New Canaan was sort of like prodding, and they finally found the pass they wanted, just off the mark on it. This is already the biggest lead of the game for either team. New Canaan looking to extend it. Dump shot off the mark in traffic, but again, bounded by New Canaan, so they'll have another chance.
Right. It's a save by Morris, but she's unable to catch it, so it just hits off her stick, goes behind the cage, where New Canaan picks it up, and now they have an 8-meter.
Tracy, you were on it early, but I think that's the story of this game so far. Northport has gotten stops, but they haven't recovered the ball when
Correct.
they have. Backing out is Russell.
And why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, run off another 2-3 minutes. Doesn't matter if you win by 3, 5, or 1. New Canaan just wants to win this game. No need to force a shot. The more that you hold the ball, the less opportunity. I mean, it's obvious. Less opportunity Northport has to, try to catch up.
You could certainly tell talking to Carol Rose this week, she had a sense that this was going to be a very competitive game. And it's always interesting when you play an out-of-state team. We can look at those national rankings, but obviously, I mean, it's more of an art than a science. It's hard to tell how two teams who don't typically play each other will actually match up on the field. And it's amazing to see just how well New Canaan is executing against this Northport defense that typically flusters just about anyone they play.
Correct. And I know that, again, Carol was concerned with this being their 4th game of the week. And a vacation week, it takes you out of your comfort zone, your routine, so to speak.
Working from X is Nolan. Nolan trying to get it to Harden. Harden, and another one for New Canaan.
Look at the patience by Harden on that. It was 1 fake. It was 2 fakes. It took her 3 fakes to finally put this one in. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you realize you have more time. Watch, Harden catches it right here. 1 fake, 2 fake, 3. Boom. Now she goes to the goal. So when you have that kind of time and that kind of awareness, it's hard to stop.
Second goal of the game for Harden, and a game-high 4-goal lead for New Canaan. I think you saw a little of the ice hockey there for Harden. Just the patience and the ability to find an angle was almost parallel with the goal when she shot it, but got it in.
Well, I think that as a hockey player, the one thing that you do learn, take a hit and keep on going. And I think that, in the sport of girls lacrosse, we say it's not a contact sport, but there's no, if you're a lacrosse attacker and you're not bruised from shoulder to elbow, you're not playing the game correctly. So I do think when they say it's a non-contact sport, I don't necessarily agree with that.
And we noted it earlier, but Kaylee Harden, just one of those girls who, I mean, you look at her and you look at Ella Cabrera physically, and you watch Ella Cabrera run, you say that's a top 20 player in the country. When you first see Kaylee Harden, you might not think that initially, but just a killer competitor, and I think you saw it on that play. Speaking of Cabrera, she has the ball for the first time in a long time.
Well, the thing on Northport's possession right here, right now, they got to give their defense a rest, number 1. But number 2, they can't really force it, but they do need to score here.
And certainly a stretch of play that will pay off later in the season for Carol Rose's squad. Not really challenged yet this season. They are getting all they can handle from New Canaan, and it's been rare as they turn it over here over these last couple of years that they faced a 4-goal deficit in any game.
But that's just so uncharacteristic of Northport. I mean, there was no pressure on that pass. There was no reason for that pass to not connect. And Brazier, I believe it was her back there. I'm not really sure who it was that didn't corral that pass. But it's just so uncharacteristic of Northport with no pressure on them at all to not play cleaner lacrosse.
And to your point, just a killer with that lack of shot clock. New Canaan will continue to drain clock. It feels like they've held it for about 9.5 of the 10 minutes of the second half.
I would. Why wouldn't you? And is it in the spirit of it's in the spirit of high school sports, but not in the college game. But we're not playing a college game. So use the rules to your advantage. Do what works best for you. Keep the ball out of their crosses. I just think that they're playing smart, New Canaan. They're really extending the defense and then finding the openings in the middle. So many of their shots have been one on the goalie. Just tic-tac-toe kind of plays. They move the ball very well, and their attackers are very shifty.
And to your point, Northport's zone is typically able to be so contained and concentrated because they're usually playing with the lead, and it becomes obviously so much easier to attack when they start spreading out, when they start coming out, and that cutting and passing for New Canaan becomes all the more deadly.
I also think this is the most defense Northport's played all season. I would say that this is one of the rare games where they play more defense than offense.
Coming off a game earlier this week against Floyd, that was a little bit similar in terms of just how possession-oriented it was and low scoring, but this a little bit different just because New Canaan has all that firepower to boot.
Correct. When you can hold Northport to 6 goals, holy cow. You're doing something right.
I mean, you can go through the totals for Northport this season, just reading them off. 16 goals, 18, 18, 14, 16, 18, 15, then 6 against Floyd, then 15 again against Half Hollow Hills. They've one game this year where they failed to score 14 goals.
Correct. And on those games where she's been in the double digits, I mean, her starters have probably played a half to, maybe just start the second half. But this is, just killing clock. And what they're going to do is they're going to force Northport to come out of their zone. And once they do that, the slides are so much more difficult when you have to pressure up top. But they are way out. They're using the entire, 30-yard to the behind-the-cage box to their advantage right here. I mean, this is just textbook, let's run 2-3 minutes off the clock and then look for the perfect shot.
Harden putting on a little bit of an attack, but then just resetting up top. Tracy, when you were coaching, what are you telling your girls? What are you trying to do defensively in this situation?
Okay, so I did not play the same defense as Carol. At this point I would have pressured ball and sealed the adjacent passes because that's all that they're doing. When you pressure the ball, they take the easy drop off. So I would have had 6 covered. So like right here in this particular play, I would have had somebody come out, on number 8, just so that they would have to do a skip sort of pass and give my defense the green light to jump that pass.
And it's one of those situations, right, where if you get beat by a great pass, you get beat by a great pass, but it's better than just having the clock run out on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. That's a nice play by Longo there. But it's a very, difficult to just watch the other team play pass and catch, or for you to pressure ball, come out high, and allow them just an easy dump pass. It kind of defeats the purpose of pressuring the ball if they're allowed to just turn to the right or turn to the left and there's an uncovered player. That's just my opinion. Again, I mean, I'm not saying that my way was always right. Believe me, we lost a good share of games at Farmingdale.
And offensively, you're almost counting on that frustration kicking in and a mistake resulting from it.
Well, yeah, and what you're hoping at New Canaan right now is that Northport is exhausted.
And Russell trying to leverage that, and she'll get free position.
And that's why, though, I'm not a fan of the high school rules being different than college.
Certainly makes for a less exciting product.
Correct.
Russell will pull it out, and we should note while we were talking, that was a huge ground ball win by Russell after Longo nearly dislodged it. I mean, again, the story of this game is that New Canaan has basically won every 50-50 ball.
Correct, and a majority of the draws. I think if we had a stat on draw controls, I would say that, New Canaan. But second chance attempts, like you said, to me is the story of this game. And then there's the patience of New Canaan, being able to possess the ball and not make any costly turnovers or not look frazzled at all. They look totally in control.
And you've noted this a number of times, Tracy, but just the execution, the stuff you take for granted. I mean, passing and catching, it looks easy enough once, but against a great defense, doing it over and over and over again, involving 6 or 7 players. Typically, again, Northport is counting on you making a mistake, and that mistake has just not come all game long. As Russell goes all the way to the cage and turns it over.
That was great defense there. And again, the one thing I will say about Northport is that they will always have great defense. It's very we had fits against them. We could not, on certain teams, certain days, penetrate their defense at all. Not even a little. And for New Canaan to be doing what they're doing is surprising to me.
Cabrera doing a great job beating the ride. Works it up to McLam. And now Northport has to go quick.
They do, but it doesn't have to be out of control quick, break down the defense, get the goal. New Canaan hasn't played defense in a long time.
Feels like an hour since we said Kaylee Makowicz's name, but
Correct.
she's on the ball.
Correct. But just get back to your bread and butter plays. I mean, they were scoring at will in the beginning.
Germani on the perimeter, tracked by Russell. Touch pass inside. Cabrera will have a free position.
You saw that developing. They were going to let Germani bring it in, and again, as soon as the double team comes on Germani, you see Cabrera slide in.
Again, Cabrera, one of the initial selections for the Under Armour All-American game, a 5-star all-everything North Carolina commit. And she'll be one-on-one with Mahoney, who hasn't seen a shot in a long time, and she'll beat her. Cabrera gets Northport back within 3.
Simple, right? I mean, you run your bread and butter play, like I said, spread the defense out, give it to your star, and let her do her thing. And when you watch here, Cabrera's stick control is so good. She looks like she's going to come across her body on the shot. She goes inside out, down low, unsavable. And now this draw needs to be a Northport win. And if they get this and run it right down, now you're talking, a 2-goal game with like 8 minutes to go. And that's just, gives them a better sense of coming back in this game.
And we've seen that before in these types of games with top competition, top teams in the country. You get a little momentum on offense. It seems to carry over into the circle.
No question.
So big one here for Grace McCarthy going up against Lexi Tully. McCarthy got the win initially, but then Tully able to scoop it up, the sophomore, big play.
And there's been a couple of times that McCarthy has won the draw, but then has turned the ball over. So now you have to come out. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You must come out on these players. And you see they're almost at the 30-yard line, and everybody has to come out and play. And this is where you get into it. Like I said, I pressure ball, and you can see they're coming closer to the adjacents, but you still open yourself up to, it's hard to slide. And if your one defender gets beat, I mean, I've been beat a million times on that same defense. So it's just a matter of trying to disrupt New Canaan's offense at this point. 7.5 minutes to go. Play with a little more urgency on the defensive end.
Tully sprinting in, then resetting. Quick dodge by Tully. Tried to jump off the pass, instead shooting space violation, so she'll have good positioning staring down Megan Morris.
But she's going to dump it back off. No way she's going to goal on this one. No way.
Tully, the unheralded MVP of this game so far for New Canaan. She does go to goal and loses the ball.
Again, and that's why you don't go to goal on that play. It was a good check, but they're always going to give it back on a play like that. And now she's got better position.
Another shot.
This time you figure she would shoot one-on-one with Megan Morris.
Yeah, well, there's obviously nobody down low that's going to get it with the new rulings with that. But
Tully straight to the cage, has it dispossessed, but again, New Canaan able to come up with it, and again, a violation against Northport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see the stick check on that one. It looked pretty clean from here, but I need to see if she came across the body or got into the sphere.
So Tully will get a third attempt at it. Tully dunks it in. New Canaan back up by 4.
And that's tough. Again, you can't give somebody 3 8 meters in a row like that and, clearing everybody out of the way. And she's so quick off the first step as Tully. You'll see right here, she beats everybody to the spot. And there's nothing that Morris can do on that.
And obviously a couple of star seniors who we've talked about a ton for New Canaan in Dylan Patton and Kayla Harden, but the future between Devin Russell and Lexi Tully, both sophomores, so bright. I mean, they do different things, but what a deadly duo down the road for this New Canaan team.
Yeah, and when you think about the confidence in them as sophomores to be able to, play against this hybrid type defense and really find the seams and understand the game at that level, as a sophomore to have that kind of lacrosse IQ, Coach Woods has to be so happy.
And it was a New Canaan team a year ago that won their first 20 games. They beat Darien 3 times in the regular season, once in the conference tournament, and then lost to them 8-4 in the state semifinals. They graduated McKenna Harden, who's now at UNC, Quinn McKernan, who's now at Villanova, and there was some thought that, not that this would be a rebuilding year for New Canaan, but that maybe they missed their shot with such a great team a year ago. They come back, they lose 2 games earlier this week to Victor and Darien, and it feels like it's all coming together now for this squad.
Well, when the younger players step up and understand that it's okay. Again, girls are so different than boys in their mentality, and the younger players, like I said, they need to hear from the seniors that it's okay, you're allowed to be the star if it gets us the W. Because a lot of times they don't want to step on anybody's toes. They don't want to, try to outshine anyone, and that's just a female mentality. So kudos to the seniors on this team for allowing them, to be able to do that.
And you have someone like Kayla Harden, who, again, top 15 player in the country, clearly personality-wise, such an alpha dog. Dylan Patton, we noted it, over 80 goals the last 2 seasons. That can be a little bit intimidating, but it's amazing to see these sophomores do it, and on the biggest stage against national competition.
Correct, and just, again, they're running their plays well. They took a lot of time off in the second half. I mean, Northport hardly had the ball on offense, maybe only 1 or 2 possessions that I could remember. So that's exhausting. It's frustrating, but that's just great lacrosse by New Canaan. They totally controlled this game from the yellow card on. And to me, that is the turning point of this game, that yellow card in the last 2 minutes.
It was a 7-1 run for New Canaan since that yellow card. And, I mean, for both these teams, you noted Northport 4th game this week, protecting that 46-game winning streak. That has to be emotionally exhausting for New Canaan. I mean, a program that's not used to losing games, dropping 2 in the last 8 days. We noted against Victor, against Darien, and then their star senior, Hollis Mulry, who we keep noting, USC commit, coming off a 40-goal season. I mean, tears her ACL. I mean, I could hear, obviously, like the pain in Kristen Wood's voice talking
Correct.
About that. And just, I mean, that no matter what happens in this game, that's a very sour note on this road trip. But assuming they hold on here, what a way to end it. What a way to pay off what was a very tough week for the New Canaan program.
Correct. I mean, and now the momentum going into the end of the season, into the playoffs, you just have a new sense. Like, they'll ride home on the bus today and be like, wow, I feel great. Like, this is amazing. And I really, you're happy for them because they have gone through a very trying week.
Couple of dodges put on to avoid the pressing defense of Northport by Tully. I mean, Tracy, you were lucky enough in your career to win some games like this against a prime out-of-state opponent. I mean, what kind of validation does it? Because obviously you beat a rival, that feels really good, but there has to be something a little extra special, like, we're playing the number 2 team in the country that we don't normally play, and we're really that good. There's a certain validation there, right?
We play Darien every year. That was always our out-of-state, our big game. We went down and played McDonough one year, lost by, 2 goals at one point. But playing Darien every year was fun. They would come to us, we would go to them. We'd always barbecue afterwards. But, Lisa Lindley, I love her to death, the coach there. But beating Darien was so fun, Private school versus Farmingdale's the ultimate public school.
Couple of fakes put on, and another one, and that could be the exclamation point from Stella Nolan, the Michigan commit.
Nice move by Stella. The defense is trying to step up. They're trying to create a turnover, and that just left so many holes in the defensive end. And then just the speed right here, the speed and control, going from right hand to left hand. Again, I think New Canaan is one of the first teams that I've seen in a while that's just as fundamentally sound as Northport.
And for Northport, I mean, to your point, knowing Carol Rose as well as you do, what is she going to say to her team after this game, and how do they recover, from losing a 46-game winning streak?
Well, what they say is all the pressure's off now. Now all we have to do is go out and win the rest of our season and come home with the hardware. Look, I say it all the time. You could be an undefeated team. If you lose the counties or if you lose at states, your season is not complete. I would much rather lose a game like this, get my team back to work, and then at the end of the year, I'm holding the hardware. Then you look at this game and you say it was a turning point in our season. It made us realize that every game wasn't going to be a gimme. That, some days somebody would be better, so we can never be off.
Is Isabel Germani
and some of my most rewarding seasons in 2013 when we won the last state title, we had like 4 losses that season, and we still walked away being state champions, and that was one of my most satisfying seasons.
And I mean, to your point, you might have won because you had those 4 losses and you had those learning experience versus a program that doesn't schedule a game like this. You could be undefeated going into those types of games, but you had to play. I mean, for Northport, I mean, a Massapequa or whoever comes out of Nassau County. I mean, some of the great programs upstate. As there's a big put-in for Northport coming off the bench. I believe that was Madison Dunleavy.
That was a nice play by the lefty. Dunleavy gets a great position, gets her hands free, and nice low shot.
And again, I mean, a player that might not have gotten in if this game was super close down the stretch. So a cool opportunity for her going up against New Canaan to tack on that big goal. But it's playing these games, win or lose, that get you ready for those state title runs for both these programs.
And what does this game really mean in the grand scheme of things? It's national ranking. Both teams get to practice or play their games on Monday. Both of these teams' seasons get to go on. It's only April. So, again, you can use it as whatever tool that you need to, whether you won the game. So for New Canaan, it's going to be like, yeah, we had a couple of losses, but nobody cares about those losses because we just beat Northport. And for Northport, it's going to be, okay, so now the pressure's off of us. Our winning streak's over. We don't have to worry about anything now except going to be state champions.
And you love to see it because it's true for so many of these elite programs, both on Long Island and in Connecticut. I mean, we were just talking, we had a Manhasset game earlier this week. They just went and played Darien. We had St. Anthony's. They went and played McDonough despite having not really played anyone earlier this season. There's a certain gutsiness and love for competition at the top of this sport that really shines through, I mean, particularly with these Long Island and Connecticut programs.
No question about it. So I think that both teams will get what they need ultimately out of this game. I know for Northport it's going to be a bitter ride home. I get it, but it's still one of those things where they'll use this to their advantage, and trust me, Monday they're back to work.
And remember, this is just the first of 4 games today, 7 games over the weekend as part of the Gains for Brains event. One of, if not the premier high school lacrosse event in the nation that attracts top talent year in and year out. These 2 teams both in the top 6. We'll see Garden City, a top 20 team in the country next. St. Anthony's, another top 10 team playing in the 3rd game against Greenwich Academy. Sacred Heart, about as good as any of these great programs on Connecticut against Cold Spring Harbor. It goes on and on and on, but a lot of top-notch lacrosse to be played today. But what a way to start off the day. It's New Canaan running out the clock and ending Northport's 46-game winning streak. What a win for the Rams.
Well-deserved, well-played game. Give the coaches their kudos. It was a great game plan. I think it was just, I can't imagine New Canaan playing any better than they did today.
Picture-perfect effort for New Canaan. The leading goal scorers for the Rams, Dylan Patton with 3. Kayla Harden had 2. Lexi Tully had 2. But just to wrap this thing up, Tracy, I think it was ultimately about the patience and execution for New Canaan offensively against, to your point, previously a dominating Northport defense.
Without a doubt. And I would say that the turnover ratio, New Canaan, I don't think they had any, but their second chance opportunities would have been the difference maker for me in this game today.
All right, so for the Hall of Famer, 3-time state champion Tracy Weiner, I am Gavin Shull. Thanks to our entire fantastic crew on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We will take a quick break, come right back with more here at Cold Spring Harbor on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effects set to music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email Jeff at varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050. or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST,
Under, and what a look.
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net. If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effects set to music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email Jeff at varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media. Our experienced photographers capture your athletes' best moments right from field level. Plus, we offer great keepsakes like bobbleheads, posters, plaques, and prints. For more information about Varsity Media's photography services, contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Varsity Media covers every sport at every level from every angle. Game film, recruiting videos, highlight videos, SPORTSCAST,
Under, and what a look.
photography, live streaming. You name it, we offer it. Don't leave your video needs to amateurs. Trust the pros. Contact us at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net. If you're an event organizer looking for a media company to cover live streaming, action photography, and game video for your event, look no further. Varsity Media travels throughout the Northeast covering weekend tournaments, showcases, and championships. Contact us today to learn about our services and packages at 516-403-2050 or visit us online at varsitymedia.net.
Stand out from the competition with a Varsity Media college recruiting video. A college recruiting video from Varsity Media can help save money on college tuition and land a spot on the team. We use your best plays with our custom editing effects set to music to ensure a college coach sees your athletic skills. Contact us today to book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or email Jeff at varsitymedia.net. For the best action shots and the best angles, look no further than Varsity Media.
So thank you for joining us back at Cold Spring Harbor, New Canaan, ending Northport's 46-game winning streak. And now we have the host of the event, Andrew Rappaport, live with the two stars for New Canaan, Kayla Harden and Dylan Patton.
To New Canaan, Dylan and Kaylee, two of the stars of the game. First, I have to ask you, what's going on with your hand?
I just got slashed, but other than that, it's fine. I mean, at one of our other games, I got slashed, so I just hit again, but it's okay. The win feels good.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you leave with the ice pack, but you come away with the win also, it must make the pain feel a little less, right?
100%.
All right, so what was the difference there in the second half?
I mean, at halftime, like, our coach, she just came out and said, we are the underdogs in this situation, and we just have to keep pushing, win every draw, and, work as hard as we can, and that's exactly what we did.
All right, Kaylee, so now what was the talk in the huddle at halftime? Because, it went from a tie game and then you guys went on that big run.
Yeah, we knew that we are a very fit team and that we could go back out there and play our game. So we talked and we said that first half we came back, but we're better than that. So we went back out there on fire and we went on a roll and scored a few goals. And I think that was really a momentum shift after we kept getting the draws and just pushing transition and holding the ball and waiting for that person to be wide open.
Yeah, just winning the draw is the key to it all, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that was something we adjusted a few times of who was on the circle and who was on the draw, but I think we did a great job, and draw wins games, so I think that was a big thing in this.
All right, last question for you. Your future teammate is standing on the other side. Was there a little wink, or was there a little, all right, I'll see you next year afterwards?
We did say hi, and then we said good game after, but yeah, she's really good, and so is that team, so props to them. It was a great game.
We won't talk about it too much, but earlier this week you lost to Darien. So to come back and finish off the week with a win like this, does this give you guys now momentum and confidence going forward the rest of the way?
I think it totally does. I think, after we lost that game, I think we came out and we were like, we did not play our best. So we wanted to come out here today and prove ourselves to everyone, Darien, just entire nation.
And now the national rankings,
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you will change after this. Gavin, back to you.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Fantastic stuff from Dylan and Kaylee, both on the field and maybe a future in media for both of them. They sounded great on the interview. But for Tracy Weiner, the Hall of Famer, and our entire crew here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, we're signing off for now. But remember, 4 games on the day, Garden City against Suffer next at 1 p.m. on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.